Hello and welcome to Thoughts on International Business, Marketing and Strategy. I'm Charles Skuba. I'm a professor of the practice at the McDonough School of Business at Georgetown University. And I'm joined today by Lew Cramer, who is President and CEO of the Utah World Trade Center. Lew is also a former member of the faculty at Georgetown University in the business school, teaching international business here. And he is a former Director General of the United States Commercial Service. Foreign and Commercial Service at that time, I believe.
That's right, Charlie.
And that is an organization that is very critical to international business and does a fabulous job in really helping U.S. businesses export their products overseas. So Lew, let me just start off and say welcome, first of all, but tell us a little bit about the importance of international business to Utah.
Charlie, it's a delight to be back, and I love this new home for the business school. It's a little different than when I left 4 years ago to Utah. It is beautiful, and the students here are very fortunate to have you and these other terrific professors here.
Thank you.
It is a great group, and I have such warm memories of the international students I taught over about a dozen years that are now hopefully making a difference around the world. I moved 4 years ago to Utah at the request of then Governor Jon Huntsman, whom I think you knew from the Bush administration days, who had served as Deputy U.S. Trade Representative.
Wonderful public servant.
A great public servant. In fact, he stayed as governor of Utah just for a couple of years. Now he's, as you know, our U.S. ambassador to China. He is, at the time when he left, I think he was the most international governor in America, best known anyway, next to Arnold Schwarzenegger for other reasons. But
and he speaks Mandarin, I believe, as well.
That's exactly right. He lived 5 years in Taiwan. He has an adopted Chinese daughter. And since he's been in China, he's become a real rock star for American relationships there, including his 8-year-old Chinese daughter is now on a postage stamp there. So he has made quite an impact because he believes in the value of international trade. And we believe that international trade brings people closer, that it brings peace and prosperity. And having Governor Huntsman as an example has been, and now Ambassador Huntsman has been a great example for the state of Utah. May I just say that, a little bit of boasting here, last year Utah was the only state in the nation that had growth in its exports. And so as the President rolls out his National Export Initiative, we have something to look to because President Obama says we want to double exports in America in the next 5 years. And our point to him is, come and see how we've done it in Utah, because we have in fact doubled exports under the last 5 years under the leadership of Governor Huntsman and now his successor, Governor Herbert. So the good messages from Utah, but believe me, it is great to be back in Washington, D.C. and see many friends in this beautiful new building at the McDonough School.
Well, thank you, Lew. Is international business in Utah, is it large corporations, small corporations? What kind of combination?
We have a whole range of it. We're pleased. For example, we did a recent survey. About 2,700 Utah companies are exporting, which is, we'd like to double that, but Utah only has 2.8 million people. But of those 2,700 companies, about 85% of them are small and medium-sized. And they're in all kinds of industries. We have very strong input and sales from the high-tech companies, the medical devices, the IT companies, the computer chip companies, and interestingly enough, aircraft components. A lot of the Boeings and the aircraft come from companies ATK and Wencor and others in the state of Utah. So we're excited about what's happening there. We think our real growth is in the high-tech industries. We've been in primary metals for a long time, but as with most of this country, the knowledge economy is forcing us up that learning curve, and I think we're getting much smarter about what we export. What we found in Utah as well is that exports mean jobs. So we've seen a lot of push on ensuring that these small, medium-sized companies have the training, the education, the flexibility, and the initiative to, in fact, export. So it's been really good trying to educate them on the opportunities that we here at Georgetown and others know is really our future in America.
Well, I know you know from your experience in the Foreign and Commercial Service that many small companies don't even really think about overseas markets. And that is one of the challenges that the Obama administration is tackling right now and trying to educate companies. Do you have any advice you could offer the Commerce Department and the Commercial Service now?
Well, as I say, free advice is worth what you pay for it, but may I say that there's no better agency, I don't think, in America for helping exporters than the U.S. Commercial Service. We have a terrific office in Utah, and one of the things that makes us particularly successful in Utah, I think, is we cooperate. We really do like each other. We work with the Commercial Service, the Chambers of Commerce, the Governor's Office. We work closely because, Americans don't export as Republicans or Democrats. They export as Americans. So our story is that the most important part of international, the most important distance in international business is the last 3 feet. So we try and get people together, buyers and sellers together. And we say, you know, we don't have so much a trade deficit as an attitude deficit. If people really knew the opportunities that were out there, that, you know, 95% of the world is outside of America, they have purchasing power, they like American products by and large, then they'd flock to that opportunity. So we're really pushing the opportunities and letting them know that exporting makes good business sense and lots of business dollars.
Well, Lew, where do you see some of the growth opportunities now in the global marketplace for American companies? What kind of opportunities exist, certainly for Utah companies?
Well, traditionally, that's a great question on Utah because for 150 years we've been shipping primary metals. And that's been our big, you know, gold, copper, and the price of that's gone up, so exports have gone up in Utah. However, we say that it's not the mines in the eastern hills in Utah. If you knew Utah, the largest copper mine on the planet is in the eastern hills of Salt Lake Valley. But we say the real gold, the real copper, the real growth is in the mines, M-I-N-D-S, in the eastern hills, which are University of Utah, Brigham Young University, Utah State University, because high-tech products are where our opportunities are. So we're trying to go up that knowledge curve and have the products of information technology, medical devices, computer chips, all that really is our future in Utah. And so a highly educated workforce coupled with an attitude of we should be international, I think can make a huge difference. And we're seeing that in Utah. As I said, we had the best export performance last year in America, and this year, the first 6 months of 2010, we're already up 45% over that. So we're doing something right by people who are saying, yeah, I can do this. If this small company can export, then I can sure export. So using the comparative examples that is so good that you do in your case studies here at Georgetown, I think are making a difference in Utah.
Now, are you also attracting foreign direct investment into Utah?
Well, that is an interesting question because the answer is yes, primarily because Ambassador Huntsman gets these Chinese visitors to his office at the embassy in Beijing, and they say, well, Ambassador Huntsman, you're such a great representative of America. Where should we invest? And for some reason, the word Utah comes up quite often. And the reality, I'm sure it's pure happenstance, but Ambassador Huntsman will always be a great cheerleader for the great state of Utah. But the fact of the matter is, you know, most Chinese have heard of Los Angeles and New York and Seattle, but many of them come from the second-tier cities, which are huge, as you know, 5 and 6 and 7 million people, and they want to go to a second-tier city where they'll feel appreciated. And Salt Lake, with its reputation of the Olympics, it's a clean, well-run, well-organized state, has been a very attractive location for a lot of visitors from overseas for foreign direct investment purposes.
Well, let me ask you one more question because I know we're running out of time today. Today, currency is in the news. Congress in the United States is conducting hearings on whether China is manipulating its currency or whether the United States should declare China a manipulator of currency. Today, the Japanese government intervened to lower the value of the yen against the dollar.
Yes.
Are American companies being disadvantaged, or are Utah companies being disadvantaged by currency rates currently?
That is a wide-scale question. I would say most Utah companies really don't think about that in that context. Of course, there's challenges in China and Japan because of the fluctuations, but we look at quality, availability, customer service, and long-term contracts is probably more important in the long run, hopefully in the long run, for the kind of products we ship, which are often customized, high-tech company. They're not quite as price-sensitive as the commodities that may come from the farm states and other places. So we leave that to much smarter people than us here in Washington, but we just want to get out there and sell and get the attitude that we can sell. So we see exports creating jobs in Utah and throughout the country, and we're just going to get out there in the field and make it happen. And again, thanks. It is fabulous to be back here again. I wish you well, and I will also urge all to come out to Utah, visit it. We got the best snow on earth, as well as some really smart companies. So come on out to Salt Lake. We welcome you with full fellowship.
I'll take advantage of that. And I know Dr. Michael Zinkoda joins me in thanking you for coming to Georgetown, coming back to Georgetown today and talking to us. So.
Well, I appreciate him. I stopped by and saw him in his home yesterday. He has been my hero for going on 25 years. He's a real trade warrior. And if everybody read his books and did what he said and took his classes and worked with Charlie and in this great school, we wouldn't have a trade deficit. So thank you for all you're doing, Charlie. Delighted to be here and look forward to coming back again.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us and thoughts on international business, marketing, and strategy.